all of the really amazing growth that happens in life is a product of going through the uncomfortable. And a lot of times we don't really have a choice, but sometimes we do. And I think when you don't have a choice and you come out on the other side stronger, then you start to realize the beauty in embracing that discomfort. And when you actually start to consciously make the choice to be uncomfortable in order to grow, then you unlock this entirely new and spectacular world. And I want to talk a little bit about that because a couple years ago, I went through some changes, and actually for most of my life, I've always kind of gone after the road less traveled. I realized early on in my early 20s, mid 20s, that I probably wasn't going to be the type of person who wanted a long, normal career where I had jobs at big established companies, or I kind of spent my whole life doing the same things. That being said, I had no clue what I wanted to do. And so I job hopped for many years and kind of tried things out, and I learned a lot, but I never really found a path that I got really excited about. So one of the first uncomfortable things that I did, though at the time I really didn't feel like I had any other choice, was to explore entrepreneurship. And of course, anybody who's set out to start a business, you would probably be afraid that you would fail. And I put everything I had into it, and I had some good ideas, and I had some support, and I'm really proud of what I did. But it was the first time I'd ever started a company. So despite doing many things right, and despite learning a ton, I failed. And wouldn't you know, it actually taught me that I can do incredible things. It gave me the confidence to know that I got a lot right, and the things that I failed on, I actually could learn from. And so that would be an example of choosing something despite everything you've ever been taught kind of programming you to be afraid of it. And I see a lot of people who have the talent and ability to start their own business, and they don't. And they've convinced themselves that they need to stick on the safe and secure route. And you'll hear them say things like, "Oh, I'm just not an entrepreneur. I couldn't do that." And the truth is they could. They just have never really done anything like that. And so it's scary and it seems risky. But I would actually look at having a job and wasting a lot of time and effort and lowering your upside. I would view that as risky. So as you evolve through these experiences, the ones you choose and the ones you don't, you start to realize that you are capable of so much. And a couple years ago, as I was saying, I had a change forced upon me that I didn't want. It was my worst fear, actually, was losing a loved one, or losing somebody I loved who I thought loved me. And both of those things happened to me. I lost my dad to cancer, and the woman I thought I'd marry left me. And that was very challenging. That put me in a dark place in my life. I essentially hit rock bottom, but I'm realizing now, and granted it is a couple years later, but I'm realizing that that also created an opportunity for me to develop a stronger relationship with myself, and for me to become closer with my mom and my sister, and for me to embrace friendships, and realizing that those are going to be the things that when you lose some of your other loved ones, it's going to be your relationship with yourself. It's going to be the friends you have to share experiences with, who share values with you. And the things that really matter are having close relationships with people and experiencing the world. And so that was tragic, but at the same time, I'm realizing now that that also unlocked another version of me. And since that has happened, I have changed my outlook on life. Not only the things I've just mentioned, but I decided that life is short and I don't want to waste it. And so every day when I journal, I write down a reminder: say yes to opportunity and say no to regret. And I don't want to get old and look back and say, gosh, why didn't I go do this, or why didn't I go do that? And so a few months after losing my father, I made my second real big decision in life to kind of do something that scared me. And that was to go on a solo trip, never done it really, and to go across the world to a country I'd never been that doesn't, aside from the touristy areas, doesn't speak English. So I went out of my comfort zone and I did a bunch of research and I chose Croatia. And it was absolutely incredible. And I met so many awesome friends and I had amazing experiences, and I started getting comfortable with going to a restaurant by myself and just enjoying the atmosphere and people watching and having control over what I did. And it really strengthened my relationship with myself and my comfort with myself and who I am, and appreciating what really matters in life, and stop seeking external validation and acceptance and just focus on being happy. And at the time it healed me, but now I realize that it actually was a catalyst for me to start doing more of that. And so that really changed everything for me. But shortly after that, I decided to go scuba diving for the first time. And I wanted to do it. I love going snorkeling. I love being underwater. And I actually remember the last trip I took with my dad, looking out at night. We were having a drink and enjoying the sunset, and then it got dark. And I remember us seeing some lights over by the reef. And I remember saying to him at the time, I was like, there's no way that I could ever do nighttime scuba diving. And a year later, after doing the solo trip to Croatia and after kind of developing this say yes mindset, I did scuba diving. I got certified. I did a few dives, going down 40, 60 feet, and then I got invited on a night dive. And so there I was a year later, underwater, down 30, 40 feet, shut the lights off, everybody sitting on the bottom, looking up, and then seeing this avatar-like bioluminescent creatures, millions of them, just start to light up as your eyes adjusted, as you looked up towards the surface of the water at nighttime. And just an absolutely incredible experience. And it's interesting observing the old me saying I would never do that, and the new me actually being the one underwater looking up and going, what an incredible experience and reminder that life is so absolutely wonderful when you choose to get everything out of it, or when things out of your control happen and you choose to just accept and find the opportunity or find the beauty or the joy in that discomfort. And more recently, I was actually in Germany visiting a couple friends who I met in Croatia, who've become my best friends. And they invited me to go to sauna. And I'm thinking, hey, I'd love to go to a sauna, right? I'll just enjoy the heat. And so I had my swimsuit with me. They brought me. I'm here with my friend Manu and his wife Helena. And then we had picked up one of their friends. And so here we are at this sauna. And then we're in the dressing room. And all of a sudden, Manu takes his clothes off. And I all of a sudden realize that, this is kind of everybody kind of just get naked together, not just guys, but like guys and girls. And so I had a choice to make, and every part of me wanted to say no to that and to just opt out because it was uncomfortable. And then I started to think about it and realize that it's uncomfortable for me because I grew up in America and we just don't do that. But for them, it's actually normal. And I also realized that here I am, I work out every day to feel good, to look good, to be in the best shape of my life. And why am I so worried what people think? Why am I worried if some dude looks at me? Why am I worried if some attractive woman looks at me? Why don't I just embrace myself? And so it was uncomfortable, and a part of me that was uncomfortable kind of through like a little mini panic, frustration attack. I started to get short with my friend and get a little upset. And old me would have just been frustrated and mad at him all day for not telling me in advance. New me learned to let that go within a couple minutes. And then once I was in a sauna with 20, 30 people, old and young, men and women, and just accepting myself and accepting the situation. Nobody was there to cause me any harm. Nobody was judging me. It was mental, just like everything I've talked about. And so I embraced it, and I did it, and everything was fine. I made it out alive. I was better for it because it's just a human body, and it's natural. Uncomfortable because it's not what I was taught, but it's natural. And I'm glad that I chose to do it. I don't see myself moving out into the woods and becoming part of some naked tribe, but I am glad that I did it. And it is another thing that helped me grow. And so all of the things that I've mentioned, when I was younger, I kind of was just stay as far away from fear as possible and miss out on life, not do some things that I probably would have been perfectly fine, but my mind talked me out of it, and the fear of the unknown talked me out of it. But the truth is in most cases, and this comes from somebody who's lived his worst nightmare in losing his dad and best friend and his loved ones, and also chosen to embrace challenge and discomfort and growth. I am being truthful with you when I say that 99.999% of the time, all of that discomfort will actually end up being part of the rewarding experience. And on the other side of it is this universe of fresh perspective that will cause you to challenge yourself and everything you've ever learned, but also unlock this new and exciting world that this incredible version of you will come into focus. And as it does, you will enjoy life more, and people will enjoy being around you more. And when you get old, you won't regret it. And that's my message to you today, is if you're feeling discomfort, if you're afraid to make a change in your life, if there are things that just scare you, I'm here to tell you that you're stronger than you think. You just have never done it before, just like a baby walking, just like any new experience in your life. And there are probably many things that when you first started you struggled and now you're really good at. The same logic applies, the same truth applies, and I encourage you to go for it. And if you do it once by choice, you will awaken a part of you that really makes you happy. And for those of you who are going through a challenge, a dark place like I was, where fear and anxiety and you just feel stuck or burned out, or you've lost someone you love, or you're going through a really challenging time, I know the day by day is tough, and the hour by hour and the minute by minute can be tough, but I promise you that if you stick with it and you find some reason to smile every day, some reason to get out and walk and cry if you have to, and do whatever you have to do, but I promise you that if you can persist through this and lean on your friends and lean on nature and lean on whatever you got to do to confront it, that on the other side is going to be somebody that you are proud of when you look in the mirror, and that whoever you've lost and whatever you think you've lost, those people who you loved will be proud of you for living your best life. And some of those people, or some of those things that you gave up, you'll realize that they weren't actually that important, or the way you approached it is very different now. And all of that makes you the best version of yourself. And I want the best for you. So I hope you got some value from this video. I hope you choose to enjoy life, embrace the discomfort, and become the very best version of yourself. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day.